Namaste, beautiful people. I hope you are well. I'm really, really pleased to be here with you once more and share this transmission with you. So over the last couple of weeks, Roop and I have been sharing through our content on our online course and through our social media channels, content about creating stability. And I wanted to just continue this conversation that we've been having. We shared some Instagram lives. I shared a video content. We've been putting a few posts up. And the reason we chose this topic for this fortnight is because at this time in our history, our evolution of humanity in this cycle, we are in an unprecedented time of incredible evolutionary shifting and changing. So it's really easy to fall into the trap of believing that what we're going through on a global level, the pandemic, shall we say, is a bad thing, and it's a horrible thing, it's a horrendous thing. If we are to look at this in a dualistic way, yes, okay, of course, there have been devastating aspects of this situation on people, individuals who are suffering, on our local economies, on the collective psyche, the stress that it's put all of us through, our jobs, our businesses, having to school children at home. There have been a lot of course, challenges. But on the other side, there have been a lot of positives to come out of this situation. So, just to name a few, we are becoming more and more connected, prioritizing relationships, schooling our children at home. That's amazing, been an amazing opportunity for parents to connect with their children, and to have more creativity and more influence over what they're being taught. We have learned to take our own health into our own hands and be more sovereign. So many silver linings in this situation. But when we strip all of that away and we look at this in its totality and we look at the broader context of what has created this, why is this happening and where is this leading us? For me and for Roop as well, I can also speak for Roop, we have seen this as an opportunity for us to grow as humanity. This beautiful planet that we're on, the consciousness of this planet, all of the planets, the constellations that are around that are impacting on us right now and supporting us energetically, have helped our collective consciousness. Okay, so all of us on this planet, all of our consciousness combined, all of our energy combined, we have been supported to create and manifest this situation, this global pandemic, because it's what's had to arise for us to face our challenges, to face ourselves as a humanity, so that we can upgrade that, we can evolve from that, we can overcome that, and we can create the new world, this new golden era that we are in. 2012 was the start of the new golden era, the new phase that the Mayan calendar had prophesized. In Vedic astrology, we are moving towards a new yug, a new era, a new golden era where we are coming more into the heart and truth resonance. In so many different indigenous cultures, this has been prophesized, but we are in it now. It's not something that's coming. We are in it. We are fully in the throes of it. And for us to be in that golden age, we've got to go through this phase of all of this coming up and us being faced with it. So as we navigate through these challenges, as we navigate through all of this muck that's coming up, all of our collective trauma and fear and anxiety and insecurity that's coming up, it's going to get hairy, because it's directly the energy coming directly from our root, from the base of our spine, where our collective fear, our individual and collective fear sits. It's our trauma, which is at our sacral, our second chakra, which again is where our trauma sits and where our ancestral trauma sits. And then our manipura, our solar plexus, which is just our tummy, our golden sun. This is where our stress, anxiety, day-to-day, dense, stagnant energy sits. All of this stuff, this energy has been trapped there. And we're keeping it trapped there by choice. So as we start to navigate all this, we start to become aware of what's in this lower triangle of our being, of our technology. And we have an opportunity to start clearing it because it's naturally coming up to being cleared. All of these cosmic energies coming in to support us at this time. And then as our consciousness becomes more aware that we have this dense, we have this old stuff, we have this trauma, we have this anxiety, we start to bring our intention to it. Oh, I see it there. And we start to ponder it. We start to examine it. We start to even work on it. We start to release it. This is a natural, just a part of being a human and what we are. Okay. Now, these lower chakras are imprinted with our fears and with our trauma and with our stress, because in those times in our lives when we were unconscious and choosing to bring that stress in, choosing to be in stress, choosing to allow those past traumas to play out and to keep showing themselves, but then we keep re-traumatizing ourselves. We keep attracting those situations into our field. We keep playing those stories out. We keep choosing to see them in those ways and creating stories and sub-stories and sub-stories. The fears that are literally embedded are our root. It is believed that our fears come in through the ancestral line, throughout the DNA of our parents, which is created at that very point of conception when the sperm and the egg then create the zygote, okay, form, and they fuse and they create one cell, and that divides into two, and that those two divide into four, and those four divide into eight. That those beginning cells are imprinted with the fears that our parents had, the fears that our ancestors had, and this is going into our cellular memory. And then we attract situations that have this flavor of these fears, because really what we're doing is we're pulling into our reality those very things that we want to heal. We want to see them. I want to see that I've got this fear. My higher self wants me to see that I've got this fear so that I can face it, see it, be aware of it, acknowledge it, and work on overcoming it. So we pull these into our reality, but then when we've been unconscious, we've just chosen to see it and be in our victim consciousness with it, and blame others and blame ourselves and feel sorry for ourselves and choose not to evolve from that. So when we are now naturally going through this evolutionary process and we're seeing it, we have this opportunity to move through it, to actually start to work on it and clear this energy from the biomemory of the cells. We can very much change the way our DNA expresses. Okay? So our theme has been creating stability, and my top three fundamental core aspects of creating stability, I shared in another video, are groundedness, willingness, and trust. Okay, and building trust and also compassion. So the question came up in our IG live that we posed to each other, to ourselves, is what would we support? How would we support an individual who was starting out on this journey, who wanted to create more stability in their life? So this might be you. You might be watching this and going, oh yeah, that's me. That's my question. And that's what I want to address through this. Okay, because this is it. We are doing it. And if you have set that intention to just look at yourself and to just be present right now in this moment and start to look at yourself, to start to self-inquire, even that alone is enough, because that is the spark that is going to evolve and snowball. There's this kind of thing that I've observed in this sort of health, wellness, and spirituality kind of industry, shall we call it, where I meet a lot of people who just they're awakening, and then they attend workshops and they go online and they speak to people and they just see all of this amazing stuff that people are doing, medicine ceremonies, goddess workshops, just all kinds of different amazing self-development tools that are out there. But that old conditioning of I've got to achieve, I've got to do, I don't want to get FOMO, I want to be seen doing these things, like I know if I do these things that other people do, if I achieve them, then I believe it's going to take me somewhere. And what we do is we tend to want to throw ourselves right in, and we forget this ground zero approach. Okay, this ground zero step, this step zero, okay, which is just ground into this present moment and keep doing that moment after moment, and actually examine my willingness to even venture into this work, because we have lots of different parts, okay, of our mind. There are parts of us that are like, yes, let's do this, like super pumped, super excited and enthusiastic and really motivated to do this. But there are parts of us, whether we're aware of them or not, that are really scared, afraid still, that are tentative, that are unsure. It's like, what are we getting ourselves into? And we've got to really acknowledge that we have all of this going on. So those parts of us that want to just gung-ho go ahead and launch into workshops, launch into ceremonies, it's great. But what we might be doing is suppressing those parts of us that are not willing to do that and are not ready to do that. So having this ground zero approach means that we can examine our willingness. We can give ourselves an opportunity to feel into parts of us that are willing and parts of us that are not willing. And that's where we meet ourselves out. We acknowledge those parts of us that aren't willing. We acknowledge the parts of us that are willing. And we start from there. So we adjust our own expectations. We like, okay, I'm going to start from here, because now that I recognize I've got a lot of parts that are not willing or not ready or afraid of doing this work, I'm actually going to slow down a little bit. I'm going to honor those parts, and I'm going to choose to slow down a little bit to make sure that all of the parts in my system are kind of on board with this. And then we're going to go at a pace that matches and suits everybody. It's a compromise for all of the parts in my system. So this is where I would start, is examining your willingness to do this work, your willingness, your readiness, your deservedness. Okay, so that is like your deserving power. That is like, where is your deserving power? Where is your belief that you deserve this, that you are worth it? Where does all of that sit? Because our sense of deservedness and worthiness is a really important factor to inspiring our motivation. Because if we don't feel worthy for this, if we don't feel we deserve this on a fundamental level, like we're in some sort of self-sabotage or self-punishment state where we have parts within our system that are really kind of playing that out, really influencing our being or dominant, then that's going to impact our like drive, our commitment, our willpower, our wanting to actually move into this work. Okay, and so when we're more aware of that, we can again take that step in and say, okay, I recognize that I've got to do some work around my self-worth and raise my deserving power. And then I'm going to be in a position to be more willing and be more committed to doing this work. I just really hope this makes sense. And please do send me any comments or messages. I really, really want to hear how this is landing with you all, and if this helps in any way, because I know and I feel so much that this is like one of the missing links to doing this really deep healing work, and particularly self-mastery. Because I meet a lot of people who are like, I've been doing this, I've tried to resolve it in this way, in like relationships with families, or self-healing, all sorts of situations people find themselves in. I hear them saying to me, I've done it all, I've tried it all. And what I often find with my students and with my clients is they've just launched straight in, and they've not sat back and addressed actually those parts of them that don't feel ready, that don't feel willing, that don't feel worthy, that don't feel deserving of this work, of this devotion, this self-devotion. So you start by examining your willingness, and that shows you what is there as your step one. You work on that using energy practices, using movement, using creativity. Sometimes it's more gentle. We don't have to go into the depth of it. We don't have to talk it out. We don't have to dredge it up. We just work with the body, work with the energy system to create that stability, that groundedness. We start to build that trust. We start to bring energy in, and that empowers our anahata, empowers our compassion for ourselves. It clears our lens, and it helps us see ourselves in a different way, develop trust for ourselves, develop those parts that are holding that those burdens, those parts that don't feel worthy or deserving. They start to slowly trust. And that then brings in energy and confidence in the system that allows us to then start to go in and be more willing and committed to do the deeper work. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. It's been so beautiful to connect with you. Please leave a comment. Please share this video as a story with others. Share on Facebook. It's so important that we get this message out there. I'm here for you always, sending you love and abundance blessings. Namaste.